Tokyo's current inventory includes 900,000 empty homes, which works out to 1 in every 10 houses decaying within the world's largest metropolis. It's a strange thought. You have two eyes, and Tokyo has 900,000 silent ones. This isn't merely unused space. It represents a colossal, forgotten infrastructure. These 900,000 houses are a spectral presence beneath the bustling city. Collectively, they account for over 500 square kilometers of unused land, an area comparable to the entire city of Osaka. So how does a city so vibrantly alive manage to conceal such profound emptiness? Many of these homes, constructed during Japan's post-war economic surge, are now between 50 and 70 years old, long past their peak condition. Inside, tatami mats are rotting, mold is blooming, and dust lies thick. This situation creates a surreal paradox. Vacant properties existing alongside Tokyo's notoriously competitive and exorbitantly expensive housing market. Underlying this are complex inheritance laws, which transform selling or renovating into a bureaucratic ordeal that can drag on for over a decade. Complicating matters further, Japan confronts a severe demographic challenge, with its national population shrinking by 600,000 people each year. These abandoned properties are locally referred to as Akiya, a term that literally means empty houses. It's a quiet decay, a secret rot festering at Tokyo's core. The story behind so many homes being left behind is still unfolding. Tokyo holds nearly 900,000 vacant homes, a staggering number that's more than a statistic, it's a hidden urban landscape. These forgotten houses are often crammed between active businesses, their decay masked by the sheer density of city life. Some are squeezed onto lots smaller than 30 square meters, tiny spaces swallowed by the surroundings. Tokyo's 12% vacancy rate is seriously high compared to global figures. New York City, for instance, only has a 5.5% vacancy rate, less than half that. The government even offers subsidies of up to 1 million yen for demolition or renovation, but surprisingly few people take them up because of various hurdles. It's frankly bizarre. Think of every dusty room, every peeling wallpaper, as holding decades of forgotten lives. It's like your own childhood home slowly being reclaimed by time. These decaying structures splinter community bonds, leaving empty pockets within the city. Crime rates in neighborhoods with a lot of these empty houses can climb by 15%. It's not just about how they look. These homes represent a massive economic loss, costing Tokyo billions in potential property taxes and development. Rejuvenating these properties will demand serious political courage and creative strategies to overcome what looks like an almost impossible challenge for local officials. Tokyo, a city of 14 million, actually holds the world record for the most vacant homes in any major metropolitan area. It's a silent crisis, a ghost city lurking within the bright metropolis. Many of these vacant homes are surprisingly well integrated, blending into vibrant districts for years. Tokyo is sitting on nearly 1 million empty homes, almost 1 million structures decaying right in the heart of one of the world's busiest cities. This isn't some sudden event. It's the slow, relentless consequence of demographic shifts. Japan's population is aging faster than anywhere else on Earth, with over 28% already 65 or older. At the same time, the birth rate has crashed to just 1.34 children per woman, far below the level needed to keep the population stable. The blunt truth is, fewer young families are being born to take over the homes left by the older generation. Projections show Japan's total population shrinking from 126 million today to just 88 million by 2065, a massive number of properties left vacant. While young people still flock to places like Tokyo, this exodus is emptying out smaller towns, leaving them like ghost villages. So many of these abandoned places, known as Akiya, are inherited, often by people who live far away, working in the city. Keeping up with these distant, aging properties becomes a huge financial burden. Plus, cultural shifts like a strong career focus and delayed marriages mean fewer children per household compared to past generations. This imbalance is straining the economy. The government predicts the dependency ratio, the number of elderly for every working person, will hit 69% by 2060. It's a creepy paradox. Single young people in Tokyo can't find affordable places to live, while millions of family homes just sit empty and falling apart. Across the country, 8.5 million homes are vacant, and Tokyo's nearly 1 million represent a huge chunk of this problem. "900,000 Akiya, Japan's vacant homes, are lurking in Tokyo's shadow. These aren't just empty houses. They're a specific legal and cultural reality, often remaining vacant for 5 to 10 years after an owner passes because heirs struggle with upkeep or taxes. Imagine inheriting a burden, not a blessing. Demolishing a standard wooden Japanese home costs over 2 million yen, around $13,000, which is a substantial sum just to clear land. By 2018, over 8.49 million Akiya stood empty nationwide, a 3.2% jump in 5 years. That means 1 in every 7 homes across Japan fell into disuse. This is especially stark in Tokyo, the world's most populous city, where 900,000 properties now decay. It's an urban paradox, a city bursting with life, yet riddled with decay. What drives this silent exodus from homes once filled with dreams? It starts with a fundamental demographic shift, an aging population and a declining birth rate. Families shrink, move away, or pass on, leaving homes that no longer fit modern needs or economic realities. If your children live far away and the house is old, who takes care of it? Often, no one. This leaves them vulnerable to neglect and time. 900,000 homes means space for millions, yet they stand silent. It's a staggering scale, and it makes you wonder how such a modern city accumulated such a vast, silent population of buildings. Tokyo's tax code creates a bizarre financial trap for abandoned homes, the Akiya, where vacant land taxes can skyrocket up to 6 times higher than land still holding a house, even a rotting one. The sheer cost of inheritance, coupled with these disincentives, builds a powerful case for doing nothing. Just think about demolition. Tearing down a typical Japanese house can cost between 1 million and 3 million yen, a massive upfront expense that swallows many months of average salary. Then come the property taxes. Once you remove the Akiya, the land it sat on gets reclassified as vacant, triggering a huge tax hike. The annual savings from just letting the house stand can reach 100 yen. This figure, while modest against demolition costs, actually makes the derelict structure financially appealing. It's a deeply absurd situation where keeping a ghost house is often cheaper than clearing the land. This economic snare traps hundreds of thousands of properties, silently decaying, a stark illustration of tax policy's unintended consequences. What kind of system encourages decay over renewal? It's almost comical. The land with a house pays a fraction of what vacant land would, an almost absurd loophole. This presents owners with a serious financial cliff edge when they consider demolition. Technically, the annual tax burden on vacant land could easily hit 200,000 yen, making that 100,000 yen saving from keeping the house incredibly tempting. We're talking about 900,000 homes stuck in this fiscal bind, generational wealth locked away by tax laws. "900,000 empty homes are decaying across Tokyo, standing as a stark symbol of a crisis that runs deeper than just economics. Cultural aversion plays a massive role in their fate, driven by superstitions that the spirits of those who died within a home might linger, bringing misfortune to anyone new. This isn't just a quirky belief, it actively impacts tens of thousands of properties. These jikobuken, or stigmatized properties, often sell for a significant discount, usually 20–30% below market value if they sell at all. Realtors have an ethical, and sometimes legal, obligation to disclose if a death occurred there, often for up to 3 generations. It's like trying to sell a car with a known, fatal accident history. Everyone knows, but nobody wants it. The psychological discomfort and fear of bad luck powerfully deter most buyers, outweighing any potential financial savings. You'd be surprised. Only about 1 in 100 potential buyers would even consider one, despite the hefty price cut. That's a stark ratio. One common tactic to cleanse a Decay bucket involves renting it out for a year, effectively breaking the chain of disclosure. It's like trying to trick the cosmic real estate agent. More traditionally, Buddhist priests or Shinto practitioners perform purification rituals, an attempt to appease lingering spirits. Honestly, it's a bit unsettling. These deeply ingrained cultural beliefs, often dating back centuries, significantly contribute to the vast number of neglected Akiya, or vacant homes. Even with economic incentives, the stigma of a prior death can persist for generations in Japanese society. Real estate agents must legally disclose this Decay bucket status for at least one transaction after a death occurs. Tokyo hides 900,000 empty homes, a growing crisis. Reclaiming an abandoned property isn't simple. Our process map reveals a labyrinth of legal and administrative hurdles. First, identifying the legal owner is a major obstacle, often tangled by generations of unregistered inheritance records. If the owner is truly missing, municipalities initiate a public notice period, a formal legal investigation costing up to 1.4 million yen with only a 30% success rate in locating them. Even when found, owners might refuse to sell due to emotional ties or future land rights hopes. To bridge this gap, Akiya banks were launched, online platforms connecting owners with buyers. Yet, these platforms have facilitated fewer than 2% of abandoned home sales. Many listed properties require renovations costing more than their market value, a deterrent for most. Demolition is often the only practical solution, but it's expensive, 1 million to 5 million yen per house. Owners are liable, but many are untraceable or lack funds. In extreme cases, forced demolition is possible, but only if the house is officially a specific vacant house under new laws. To expedite things, municipalities enacted Akiya ordinances, allowing acquisition after 20 years of abandonment. Despite these efforts, since 2015, Tokyo has only acquired 53 properties through these ordinances. Foreign investors show interest, especially in rural homes, but Tokyo's complex urban regulations often deter large projects. The ongoing legal quagmire added 9,500 new vacant homes in 2020 and an estimated 10,500 in 2023, compounding the problem. It's an absurd, bureaucratic battleground. Tokyo is sitting on 900,000 empty homes, and this isn't just neglect. It's actively becoming a blight. These derelict properties are magnets for illegal dumping, transforming forgotten sites into localized waste heaps, sometimes piling up to over 100 kilograms. Overgrown gardens from these Akiya spill onto public sidewalks, narrowing pedestrian paths to a mere 50 centimeters. Imagine navigating that daily. Unsecured houses are ticking time bombs. Last year alone, structure fires broke out at over 500 abandoned sites across Tokyo, posing a serious risk to occupied homes nearby. Structural integrity is so compromised that engineers estimate over 15% of these buildings are at risk of partial collapse. It's a literal, structural nightmare. Pest infestations are rampant, with a single abandoned home potentially harboring thousands of rodents or insects that then spread to surrounding residences. The mere presence of an Akiya can depress property values nearby by an average of 10%. For children, these decaying structures become dangerous playgrounds. Accidents and injuries are up 15% in high-density neighborhoods. These forgotten spaces also become havens for petty crime and vandalism, eroding the sense of safety. Fire incidents near vacant properties are 3 times higher, endangering lives. The sheer visual blight diminishes property values further, a quiet decay that has profound, tangible impacts on community safety and cohesion. How can a neighborhood possibly thrive when its foundations are literally rotting away? Tokyo has 900,000 empty homes, a number that feels deeply unsettling. Yet something fascinating is happening. A quiet revolution is brewing around these abandoned properties, known as Akiya. People, often in small groups, are seeing these places not as decay, but as potential. Purchase prices can be a third of what you'd expect for a Tokyo home, a massive draw for anyone willing to put in the work. Imagine buying a house for the price of a used car, then needing to spend just as much again to make it livable. But the pull is often more than just financial. It's a powerful urge to save Japan's architectural heritage, its centuries-old wooden homes, its very soul. Online, communities are sharing everything from structural repair tips to navigating renovation permits for these treasures. It's like being an urban archaeologist, carefully uncovering the craftsmanship hidden beneath years of neglect. We're seeing success stories emerge, like a family turning a 70-year-old house into a vibrant neighborhood cafe. These aren't quick projects either. They're marathons, often taking 8 to 12 months, unlike the 4 to 6 months for new builds. Common challenges include unexpected structural issues, pest infestations, and the necessity of seismic retrofitting for traditional timber. Sometimes you just open a wall and find, well, a blast from the past. Think 1980s wallpaper, or worse. Still, help is arriving. Government incentives can cover up to half the renovation costs for homes that are eventually rented or sold. Certain regions even offer grants of up to 2 million yen, about $13,000, making that fixer-upper dream feel genuinely achievable. The Akiya Bank online database now connects thousands of aspiring owners with these forgotten houses nationwide. "900,000 homes in Tokyo are empty, a ghost population consuming precious urban space." Recognizing this scale, over 800 local governments have launched Akiya banks and other initiatives. These online databases act as crucial lifelines, connecting potential buyers with vacant homes otherwise destined for demolition or neglect. Some municipalities offer direct grants up to 1 million yen for renovation costs, specifically targeting younger residents or families willing to relocate. In rural areas, subsidies can be even more substantial, reaching 3 million yen, contrasting with 1 million yen in many urban programs designed to attract new residents. Beyond financial aid, some programs offer free architectural consultations or even mentorship to guide new owners through the complex renovation process. The town of Okutama near Tokyo famously offered Akiya away for free back in 2014, requiring only a commitment to permanent residency. This bold incentive attracted over 100 new residents to Okutama, boosting its dwindling population by nearly 5% within just 5 years. Another innovative approach is the owner-occupancy rule in some cities, prioritizing buyers who pledge to live in the Akiya themselves for a minimum of 5 years. The city of Saitama, for example, offers a 300,000 yen subsidy to young families who purchase and renovate a designated Akiya within its municipal boundaries. These government efforts, while significant, still face challenges, with only an estimated 10% of listed Akiya properties finding new owners annually nationwide. The sheer volume of abandoned properties, with estimates exceeding 10 million nationwide by 2040, simply overwhelms current government resources and initiatives. Local governments often lack the staff and budget to actively manage their Akiya banks, leading to outdated listings and slow bureaucratic processes. Japan has lost 99% of its traditional Minka homes in just 70 years, a staggering decline that erases more than just housing. These vanishing structures are irreplaceable pieces of Japan's architectural heritage, with many farmhouses featuring their distinctive thatched roofs and heavy wooden beams dating back over 150 years. Back in 1950, Japan was home to more than 5 million Minka. Now, fewer than 50,000 survive. That's a devastating loss. Urban machiya, the traditional wooden townhouses once defining districts like Kyoto, have also faced widespread demolition, with around 80% vanishing since the mid-20th century. Repairing these intricate, historically significant structures requires highly specialized skills, particularly in carpentry and traditional thatch roofing, yet fewer than 1,000 master craftsmen capable of this work remain. Some historic homes are dismantled and rebuilt in open-air museums like Nihon, Minka-en, a costly preservation effort. Designating a property as cultural heritage offers protection but severely restricts modernization, making them less appealing to buyers. Tokyo's intense post-war development often prioritized speed and cost over preserving these centuries-old wooden marvels, a stark contrast to London, which boasts over 400,000 listed historic buildings compared to Tokyo's fewer than 1,000 designated cultural properties. Traditional Japanese architecture, heavily reliant on wood, is inherently susceptible to fire and decay, demanding constant, skilled maintenance that many families can no longer afford. The economic logic of preservation often falters when the benefit for tourism is outweighed by demolition costs or redevelopment profits. With each Minka and Machiya lost, Japan loses a tangible connection to over 1,000 years of building tradition. It's a genuine architectural identity crisis. By 2033, 20% of Japan's homes will sit empty, a nationwide crisis unfolding. Rural areas already grapple with far higher vacancy rates, with places like Wakayama and Tokushima seeing over 15% of homes abandoned way back in 2018. Projections from the Ministry of Internal Affairs suggest that by 2040, nearly 30% of Japan's entire housing stock could be vacant, exceeding 20 million units. That's comparable to every single home in a country the size of Belgium becoming empty. This national blight devastates local economies, decimating property tax revenues and discouraging new residents, which accelerates a grim spiral of decline. Japan's population is shrinking by about 500,000 people annually, directly feeding into this growing number of unoccupied homes. This Akiya crisis is a ticking demographic time bomb, far larger than Tokyo's visible decay, threatening Japan's future vitality. It's genuinely absurd how many homes are just rotting away. A quiet ghost across an entire nation, this problem is only accelerating. Tokyo, a city bursting with 37 million people, is also quietly holding on to nearly 1 million empty homes, 900,000 to be exact, known as Akiya. These aren't just vacant buildings. They're monuments to demographic shifts and what could have been. Yet from this quiet decay, a real revival is emerging. Akiya banks and more than 800 local government programs are now acting as matchmakers, linking people who want to renovate with owners eager to let go. This is breathing life back into neglected corners. Think about turning a 150-year-old traditional house in Meguro into a cool cafe, or even transforming 3 abandoned plots into vibrant urban farms, adding vital green to the concrete jungle. For artists, these forgotten structures are becoming sanctuaries. With Tokyo studio rents averaging 150,000 yen, Akiya alternatives at 50,000 yen are a game changer. These conversions are more than just aesthetic changes. Renovation costs can run 30% cheaper than building new, and those sturdy 80-year-old timber frames provide a surprisingly solid base. Guest houses in these revitalized areas are seeing booking jumps of 20%, drawing in fresh waves of visitors. Local authorities are actively supporting this movement, even offering renovation grants as high as 500,002 yen. The outcome is this really neat mix of modern comfort inside historical structures, managing to keep about 60% of the original character. Akiya are also becoming shared offices and co-working hubs, with one Shibuya spot now home to 15 tech startups. These projects are injecting energy back into local shopping streets, boosting retail options by 10 to 15%. Making them energy efficient is also a big part of it, with some projects cutting consumption by a significant 40%. "900,000 empty homes stand as a stark symbol of Tokyo's urban planning crossroads, a truly staggering number of wasted structures in the world's largest city. This isn't just about unused buildings, it's about the embodied carbon saved by reusing existing ones, up to 70% compared to new builds. Urban planners are proposing policy shifts, like a dedicated Akiya reuse department, that could streamline processes, potentially saving millions annually. It's a bizarre paradox. Urban sprawl versus internal decay now defines modern Tokyo, and its future hinges on embracing innovative solutions for its aging, vacant infrastructure. Can a city truly grow while parts rot? Many megacities face housing shortages, but Tokyo's scale is unique. This situation creates a bizarre ecological footprint, demanding new infrastructure for outward expansion while nearly 1 million homes decay within. The embodied energy in these abandoned structures, from concrete to timber, represents a monumental waste of building materials. Think about hoarding 50,000 perfectly good screwdrivers you will never use while someone desperately needs just one. That is Tokyo's housing dilemma, a colossal, inefficient resource allocation undermining sustainability goals. This adds 15% more pressure on waste management and raw material demands, while expanding outwards consumes valuable green spaces, impacting local biodiversity and worsening the urban heat island effect. Other megacities offer models. Berlin, for instance, reclaimed 10,000 vacant units, revitalizing unused housing stock instead of relentless sprawl. Beyond concrete, these silent homes represent a social decay, impacting millions who live near blighted properties and depressing property values by 7%. Tokyo needs radical urban planning, a shift from constant expansion to internal renewal, targeting 500,000 revitalized units within a decade. Tokyo's 900,000 abandoned homes are an immense problem, but a 10% decrease by 2040 offers a glimmer of hope. Thousands of volunteers are already mobilizing each year, turning these neglected properties into vibrant community hubs. It's wild to think that young Japanese are now snapping up these vacant homes for less than the price of a car, breathing new life into forgotten neighborhoods. Government subsidies for renovation and reuse have effectively doubled in just 5 years, providing significant grants. This concerted effort is leading to tangible revitalization. One project alone turned 15 units into a popular co-working space and cafe, which in turn drew new businesses and boosted local foot traffic by 10%. Tokyo's struggle, however, offers vital lessons for cities worldwide facing similar demographic shifts, with an estimated 50 million vacant units globally. The sheer scale of Tokyo's 900,000 abandoned homes is staggering. That's enough empty houses to shelter everyone in Phoenix, Arizona. The financial burden of these decaying properties often outweighs their market value, costing Tokyo trillions in potential economic loss each year. These forgotten spaces fragment communities, leaving many residents feeling isolated. Local governments are fighting back with specialized Akiya banks and revitalization programs, trying to reintroduce thousands of vacant properties to the market. Their collective action aims to transform 10% of Tokyo's abandoned properties by 2040, a monumental undertaking. Future urban planning envisions these spaces as communal hubs, green areas, or even vertical farms. For inheritors, these ancestral homes carry immense emotional weight. Over a century of family history makes demolition a profound choice. The concept of home in Japan transcends mere property. It embodies family legacy, community ties, and a connection stretching back generations.